Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Boy, am I sure glad you showed up. I'm just working on, I'm doing a lot of research about polar bears. In fact, polar bears are one of the classic winter holiday animals. But there's more to it than that. There's more? Oh, yes. For what you should know, polar bears are very large. They live in the Arctic, which means country of the Great Bear. And how is it coming likes it here? Well, polar bears just like it out here for a reason. Besides how their thick fur is like straw, they're also thick layer of fat. And beneath their fur, their skin is black. If they get too hot, a little too hot here, the answer is take a nice dip in the sea. And they can rest here. Of course, you wouldn't try to go in ice cold water to cool off, would you? No, you wouldn't do that. But the fur works like insulation. That means keeps body heat in and the cold out. And the classic way of camouflage? Well, that's just the best part. They can cover their noses and keep themselves completely hidden, but also keep themselves cozy when they snug themselves. And their big front paws and hind paws, they're the size of dinner plates. See how it's covering its nose like that? But there's more to it than that here. I couldn't decide which one of these polar bear stories I should share, man. But I'd like for you to see this. See these paw prints?
As a matter of fact, polar bears
do live in these regions known as the Arctic, including the North Pole.
50 below.
It's 50 below.
That's okay. Polar bears are dressed just right.
I wonder how big their paws are. Very big, indeed. Whenever they come out of their dens, they like to take a big stretch and a slide. In fact, they love to slide down in snowy hills. Polar bears are one of the 8 different kinds of bears in the world. And it's the biggest one of all. But even though their cubs are very cute and cuddly, remember, you should never get too close to baby bears because their mothers are very protective and always close by. So always give them their space. Bears can be very suspicious of humans and can be fierce if you get too close. But when it comes to being a polar bear, there's more to it than you think. What's that got to do with anything? Well, my friend, far away. Near land, mysterious place in the ice and snow.
The Arctic. In this frozen
land, there's one polar bear. This animal whose rules supreme. She is wisdom, power, and grace. And she's one of the most beautiful polar bears I have ever seen. And she's a very special friend of mine. One of those. And here she is.
Me, Tasha, the polar bear. But I wasn't always so powerful.
When Tasha was little, she had to overcome freezing temperatures, hunger, and a terrible threat. His name was Gunner, the meanest, bad-tempered polar bear. Surviving takes courage and strength.
Surviving Gunner took everything a polar bear's got. So come along for my tale from the...
And Tasha and I can help you tell the story. Tasha the Polar Bear by National Geographic. It all began on the day she was born
to a great
in
darkness.
great darkness, which is actually in her den. During the winter, male polar bears patrol the Arctic, but females will stay snug in their dens, known as hibernation.
The sun doesn't shine at
It was-
all during the Arctic
was-
winter. For the first
For those 3 months,
the den beneath the snow.
in the den beneath the snow like a buried treasure, all snug with her mother. We don't want to disturb her yet, which is why we don't want to. You can't see that.
When spring finally arrived,
When spring finally arrived, Tasha's mother made a grand entrance. There she is,
It had been
It's been
so
so
dark
dark
in our little
in
den
the old den.
that she wasn't used
She-
to the blind.
She wasn't used to the blinding light. Polar bears make their dens by digging the snow in a hill or other perfect landscape to make a den to call home.
After
After
such
such
a
long rest, you might be a little blurry-eyed yourself.
But her
Yep,
nose still works pretty well.
well.
A polar bear can smell things a mile away.
But they can also smell food 10 miles away, too. She said, "Coast is clear."
Come on up and meet your new world.
No, that's not her. That's Lorenzo, short for Lawrence, Tasha's twin brother and best buddy.
Buddy.
There she is.
Tasha. Number 2 as usual.
And
We only weigh
he's
20
the weigh as much as a turkey. But in her case, maybe an enormous chicken.
You could say I wasn't much of a daredevil.
Not much of a daredevil at all. Her brother always called her a scaredy bear. But her mother comforts her and reminds Lorenzen and her brother are not to tease her. Tasha's brother wasn't afraid of anything. He took to that snow right away, even made a snowball. The Arctic was very mindful. Ptarmigans meditating, enjoying the morning breeze, and wild reindeer. They were digging through the snow looking for plants to eat. Yep, those guys are real reindeer, but not those in the North Pole, also known as Christmas Town. That's another story. Although pretty close to
The
North
way
Pole.
I look at it, we live at the top of the world.
This is the Arctic, which is where it covered most of North America, Greenland, Europe, and Asia. But where the story took place exactly?
The Arctic, halfway between.
Between the North Pole and Norway, the island Svalbard, which is where Tasha was born. Yep, there was lots of beautiful ice, and snow, and icicles. It was pretty as a picture, and a glorious ice rink. The ice was very slippery. Tasha, she wanted to stay.
On a slippery day like this, I'd have rather stayed in. But Mom said
But Mom said she needs her vegetables. Plants like moss and lichen. Yuck. Although polar bears are carnivorous, they sometimes eat plant materials to get their stomach working right, which explains what she was doing. Suddenly,
Mom
her
smelled.
mother smelled danger.
Off
Off in the distance was Gunner, the meanest half ton of fur on ice, a terrible tyrant. He was really big, And he has very strong arms. He was 10 feet tall. Oh, and his footsteps made everybody tremble.
Mom said,
Mom
tell him
said
to clear out. He's lots more dangerous than your average bear.
Full of fear, Tasha launched her mother like a glacier. But Lorenzo, short for Lars,
But Lars dragged his
giant speed.
Unlike me, turning tail was not his style.
Turning tail is not style at all. Gunner has a secretive creature following him around. Arctic foxes sometimes follow polar bears to food that polar bears leave behind. Although they're omnivorous, yes, they're also scavengers, which explains what's here.
Goodness knows, the gunner could be quite a mess.
Whenever he's around, all the animals will scram whenever he's about. The seals take to this sea and dive under just like the belugas. The eider ducks, they take to the sky. He's big and bad, and he's selfish. And he's always looking for someone to scare and mean towards.
Population. Survive is your occupation. Any chance?
Ooh. See how mean he is? None of the other animals are brave enough to stand out. None of us were brave enough. The walrus would not tell you, and the Arctic turns far away. Whenever he's around, careful now.
He can smell you. Better watch yourself.
Hate to admit, but my mom and dad won't stand a chance against a meter, but I'm not afraid. I could deal with him. When Gunner was having his meal, Mama Polar Bear could not neglect on looking for food for her family.
She came
She came
up
with a plan,
a
finding one
one, I
Tasha
thought.
but the right place to go looking for food was on the sea ice, as her mother said.
Lars treated
Lorenzo was ready to go,
home made me
but
nervous.
remained Tasha nervous.
How about one more night in our den?
She begged. Oops. But her
Mother was determined. Tasha,
this may be our den,
it's
but it's
time
time
for us
just
to
to get
move
going. And off they went to the sea. Tasha knew she must obey, and so she thought about her mother's feelings first. And to the sea, as off they went.
I left the only home I've ever known. It started with my young life. More than a mile.
Which is a mile into the sea.
It would take
It would
days.
take days to get
What better way to launch
there. Big journey than stop for a rest.
You think
You
lolling
can
around on
learn
your
what
hind
inside's
sides,
cushy,
but it's very
but it's
important work.
important work. You see,
You see, you don't want to
You don't
move too
move
far
too
too fast
fast,
because
that burns fat. And polar bears' thick, fattened fur makes them thick as a brick, which is a great feature in the Arctic where they live. What she said? Oh, what Tasha said it was, as thick as a brick.
Thin's not in the Arctic.
Thin's not in the Arctic. Oh, I get it.
Poor Mom. She couldn't afford to
She
lounge
couldn't
around for
lounge
long.
around for long.
She needed something to eat. As we got
As
closer
they
to
got
the sea,
close to the sea, she caught the scent of a nearby bearded seal. She showed him how it's done. Polar bears sneak from prey, and then, when they get close enough,
wait up!
they pounce after with their teeth. Polar bears are most carnivorous, and they can take on different kinds of prey: fish, seals, or beluga. Oh, a key survivor, rich in meal, rich in fat. Polar bears are known to go after seals.
Of course, because we were young,
Because they're young.
Lars and I still thought mother's milk was best.
Well, Tasha and her brother thought mother's milk was best. Like all bears, polar bears are mammals. And a baby polar bear is very tiny when it's born, about this small.
Everything seemed
Let's see.
comfy and safe,
Comfy and safe,
but Mom
but her
still
mom
kept
still
up the guard.
kept up her guard, because along the way, she kept a sharp lookout for
She
Gunner.
sniffed the wind.
She sniffed the wind for signs until she saw danger. What did she see? She saw Gunner's footprints, which means he went that way. Tosh was scared.
I kept thinking,
Tosh kept
what
thinking,
could be so wonderful about the sea that it was worth risking our lives? Passing right under Gunner's nose to get there. As far as I could see,
Let's rush
everything
the
was
sea,
pretty much the same.
rush the sea everywhere.
White,
White,
and
so it changed a little more white. But everywhere I sit on this swamp barn, there are hillsides, mountains, hills, fields, and valleys. A white winter wonderland. Pretty soon,
Sure, I finally understood.
now she understood when they finally reached the sea.
What a happening place!
It was a happy sun. There were so many birds
We're raising
raising their families
And a
in a
ruckus.
ruckus.
And better yet,
And
there were
there was thousands of seals.
Tomorrow,
Mom knew what
dinner was served.
dinner was served.
But just as I was getting used
Just
to the good
used
life,
good
many
life.
of the seals began to
Oh, it's beginning to get lean.
they floated
They're
away.
floating pieces of ice called ice floes. Her mom
Mother
said,
said, no problem. Where the seals go, the polar bears go.
"Mhm,
We'd hop from
Yeah,
one ice
ice
floe
floe
to the next to go north.
to the north.
There, we'd catch up to the
The
seals.
seal.
This winter,
This winter,
we wouldn't be safely tucked away in a cozy
Tucked
little den.
in
We'd
cozy,
be out braving the open ice.
braving out the open ice. Tosh was going to have to get
They have to get
pretty tough, pretty fast. Why are they going out to sea on ice floes? During the summer, polar bears go out on ice floes, floating miles and miles to look for food. Another reason why Arctic has everything they need. Breaking the ice. That's chapter 3.
Following the seals.
After following the seals, they returned to their island of Earth. They didn't go to their den, but the wind howled out as mighty as a bear's roar.
Temperatures
Dropping down below.
Then the days.
Then, when spring came here, after 15 months, there's Tasha and her brother wearing so short for arms. Once again, they're doing well, aren't they? Tasha's very lucky. Skillful, my dear. How's Tasha's mama? She's teaching him very well.
So nice and fun.
She's getting nice and plump and deep. One day, Tasha's mother spotted a meal.
We were feeling
They were
so
feeling so lucky they didn't notice someone resting nearby. It was Gunner behind a snowdrift.
He noticed us.
He noticed them all right. But he was too lazy and tired. He had a full belly. That was lucky of him. The seagulls give him a heads up and a warning to make sure to stay alert.
Mom and I
When
could take
Natasha could take it, they scooted. But Rins, slowly, grumbling something about Bear. This was bad manners. Good thing Gunner was too full to go after him. Although he was still grumbly, he just growled one thing. All he said was,
"Next time I see you, I just might make one of you into a cupcake."
he snarled.
That cinched it for
It's
Mom.
true. Looking for leftovers, something to be careful about.
It's about your hunting lessons.
Time to get serious about your lesson.
We started that same day.
Seemed like
I thought it'd be easy.
Tosh found it easy.
See the seals, catch the seals. But
It turns out
the time the little guys aren't
all the seals are under some layers. It seems how seals make their homes. Whenever Tasha's mother sniffs them out, she gave a good cry chop on the door. Hiya! Tasha watched carefully and tried to do the same thing. But every time she tried, it didn't seem. She's having a very hard time here. All she had was catching her ice cubes.
self-right starvers. All I ended up catching the
Poor little guy. Well, her might. She tried to do the same, but she was too light.
Boy, if I had to feed myself, I'd starve for sure. All I ended up catching were ice cubes.
But Tasha's mother had an idea on how to solve her problem in practice. She looked around and found a nice, beautiful, shallow bay. And when she saw a waterfall, this was a good place to start. She knew where to start. Another idea for a lesson. See the sea ice down the shore? Miss Lucia,
You were going to practice lair crashing here?
she asked.
It looked awfully wet and messy to me.
Her mom said
nonsense.
the right place for polar bear.
It is on the sea ice.
Tasha hesitated for only a second, but decided to give it a try. She was determined to keep practicing. She wanted to make her mom proud. After all those months, she's doing better. Which explains one reason here. Aside from their looks, those two twins are complete opposites. Lorenzo, short for Lars, Tasha's brother, is adventurous and fearless. Well, Tasha is shy and timid. Or at least Tasha used to be. How come? Well, I'm glad you asked here.
Turns out it was
Turns
a
out it's
blast
glass.
smashing.
Smashed through that ice. Seals beware. Tasha was a pro. At first, Tasha was having fun, and she seemed to be happy she's doing all so far. But her mom,
You know, I still had a lot to learn.
she still had a lot.
She said,
She's-
Tasha,
Tasha,
I'm teaching you all I know, but you must believe in yourself. Stand up on your own 4 legs.
she knew she can't just have her way as a timid and scaredy bear forever.
By this time next year, you should be a huntress alone on the ice.
She means she has to face challenges alone here, which is a big start. In challenge she must learn. Some challenges I could think of 4 challenges. The way it's now, everybody, Tasha's young. Let her. She needs support. Give her her time. Tasha was confused and upset.
Alone? How could I survive?
Tasha was really confused, so she went to her friend Father Walrus for advice. He asked her what was wrong. Tasha told him about it. Although polar bears are predators, although polar bears are solitary, they don't always hang out alone. After all, after telling him about it, Father Walrus,
He told me I would hate to leave my family. All for one and one for all of us walruses, I always say.
that's what Father Walrus said.
It made sense to me.
Yep, like I always said, nothing can keep family and friends apart because there's no way they're forbid to see each other or again. So Tasha had to set an example for her to learn that and decided to stick with her and make the family and bondness and relationship a little stronger and make sure to have all the memories up in her head. She didn't want her heart to break like icicles. After all, mother and polar bear cubs have a very close relationship. Barely getting by. That next year, Tasha was ready to go and to take on the challenges. And so off she went. Everything seemed dark to
No
her.
matter how
Right.
long the sun shone. Things certainly
Things
didn't
get
any
any worse.
That's just what things got
Things.
absolutely awful.
She was late to catch some ice floes in July. All the seals caught with ice floes, but Tasha couldn't catch other ones. She had to wait for the next bunch. She was stranded.
There'd be no more sea.
There was no food for her.
The best
Best she could think of was birds laying their eggs. Besides these murres, she saw eider ducks, Arctic terns, and seagulls nesting. She thought if she takes some eggs, it might help her get through. But when she got too close to the nests, this is the embarrassing part. Ready, aim, peck! Ouch! That's smart. The Arctic terns got her pecked on the head. After catching up, trying to save her chances, she was doing her best. And by next March, she got some good meals, but until that March, she was half starved. And boy, was she in a jam. Until that very day, she saw a polar bear center with some polar bear food hanging from this rack. You know, a place for conservation to help polar bears. Tasha was curious. And what's the
foxes would be the big foxes.
Those are huskies. You hear Tasha?
Hey, you guys. How about sharing some with us? Wow.
I'm gonna get those here, she thought. Tasha wondered how to get one of those. So she started to climb and start taking a good chance just this once. But when she climbed, suddenly the sound of clanging triggered. The huskies escorted her out of here to safety to get away from the noise. You silly. Go find your food naturally in the wild. Don't worry, I'll help you. Tasha went off with a splitting headache. Loud clanging noises bothered her. I know how she feels. There's some noises that I don't agree with, but the laughing sounds from my family, I'm okay with that. And I love to laugh. And when she went out to the sea, when she smelled the sea, she remembered something. The right place to go on the sea ice. She remembered what her mother told her. And off she went. Paying attention to everything, remember what her mom told her. She sniffed out something. It was a ring seal hiding somewhere. She couldn't see, but smelled.
And then it hit me.
She understood why polar bears usually go looking for food alone. Being sneaky and quiet,
Are my
best weapons. She waited by some ice holes, waiting for a ring seal to pop up. She knew they're hiding in here somewhere. For hours, she stalked the seals. She kept coming up empty, but she was determined because she was patient and focused. She kept coming up empty, still, until, getting the chance, one takes a good catch to make her day. When a ring seal popped up, Tasha took one giant leap and grabbed it. She got it. Success. Tasha was not half-starved anymore. She was enjoying her meal at first, until she smelled trouble. Just quickly, she turned to face her worst nightmare. Gunner. She hadn't seen him for a long time, even though before taking on the challenge, she promised to see her brother and her mother and come out and visit any time. But there's one little thing. Gunner is a big threat. But that's not the only thing. Special scent of her food. That's where the best part came. Chapter.
The Polar Princess.
You'll see what I mean. Tasha had a tough choice. What should she do? She can't fight Gunner. It's too risky. But she can't abandon her meal. Instead, she stood up to him and said,
"You're not taking my seal from me,"
she cried.
"I've had enough."
As she took up with her meal, suddenly, another polar bear appeared out of nowhere. Who dared challenge Gunner? A strong young male named Eric. Tasha couldn't believe her eyes. Eric had won the fight, but after that, he had no choice. He had to banish Gunner from Svalbard forever. Tasha couldn't believe her eyes.
My eyes.
Especially when Eric sent Gunner packing forever. Yep. If you want to see him, he's over there. Gunner's leaving, but walking out instead of running now. You better be. I'm watching you. Victorious, Eric stood 12 feet tall in Tasha's eyes. That's how big a polar bear can stand, and can weigh as much as 1,600 pounds. In fact, it's the largest land carnivore in the world. After a good meal, Eric offered Tasha to join up with him. And so, off to the sea they went together. The story of Eric and Tasha defeating Gunner had spread far and wide. As they swam together, Eric told Tasha when she stood up to Gunner, it was the bravest thing he'd ever seen. That's why he came to her rescue. Then Eric asked Tasha, something that made her very, very happy. When she answered yes, it brings goodwill. He asked her to take his paw. Tosh told him she'd be proud to be his mate. Looks like they're gonna live happily ever after. And Dad went to Tosh dug a den of her own and settled in for a 5-month nap, and Eric promised to see her again here after long patrols and promised to come back and fight in the spring. After 5 months, spring returned and peace restored in Svalbard. But not only is that after the 5 months, Tasha's not lonely anymore.
I'm a mom.
Tasha now has cubs of her own. Now there's Grandma, Uncle, Mom, Dad, and the children. Tasha became a polar princess.
Like
Her mother promised. You know, in a funny way,
it seems like she never left
after all,
She's been there,
right
right along,
in every lesson she taught. The world is new to babies. It's a good thing Mama's there.
She takes the time to teach what's
Tender loving cheers. How to jump and how to swim. She leads the way. Simply, I can do it now. Time. Mothers lead and the little ones follow. Learning is where growing minds. When to attack, when to lay back. Now I know how to be brave. Do it now. Time. Hey world, watch me go. Footprints in the snow, strong enough to make it through. And soon I'll teach my own family too. I can do it now. Time now. Do it, Mama, taught me how. Yes, you did. I can do it. Mama taught me how. You taught me. Mama taught me how. Yes, Tasha, the polar princess. In fact, polar bears are known as the kings of the Arctic. So, Tasha, how do you like sharing your story?
Well, that's my tale. From scaredy bear to polar princess. I can't wait to show my cubs their beautiful Arctic kingdom, just like my mother did for me.
See you soon, Tasha. I'll check on you tomorrow. What a celebration. But it's time now to talk about what we've learned today. But this is one of the polar stories, and we'll be tuned for another one soon. But what did we learn from Tosh's story? As the saying says, Mama knows best. In fact, Tasha the polar bear is an example when it comes to courage and skill. Because courage comes from inside yourself, and she kept her promise to obey. It's good to bring in courage to facing tough isn't easy, but it brings good joy because she got the bravery, and that brought good joy to everyone. I knew she could do it. She's not a scary bear anymore. Though I am a little nervous about keeping my promise to be good for Christmas, I'm doing my hardest. Anyway, I'll see you soon. I'll be showing out now.